Hello, fellow classmates. This is Amber Schumacher, and this is my project presentation. I know that you're not seeing the slide the best way you could because I'm going to be flipping back and forth to show some stuff. So I started to make a nice little PowerPoint presentation and then just realized that it's going to be easy here for me just to talk about it instead of trying to lay something out. It is 70 degrees in Baltimore right now. And I actually implemented this assignment in my classroom. So today was actually my formal observation, and I took a risk, and I think it went well. So I'm excited to share all of that with you. So first, the introduction is, so I teach in Baltimore City. I know you guys are jealous of our nice, warm, 70-degree weather. I teach 4th grade, all subjects. I did a math lesson as a 3-day flipped classroom, and my thought process behind this was that I'm currently in Unit 4, which is fractions, and we are coming up on our end of the year diagnostic testing, and PARCC is coming up in about a month. So I need to start double teaching skills to make sure they've learned as kind of much as they can before they have to take those tests. I don't necessarily agree with that, but we got to do what we got to do. So I did this presentation on creating and identifying angles as part of our geometry unit. So the majority of my lesson has been, for the last couple of days, this flipped classroom angle skills, and then in small group and independently having the students working on subtracting fractions, which they've shown already that they are really well at, and most of them have mastered. So I didn't have to do whole group lessons with that, so I could do this as my whole group lessons instead. So my goal is to have 85% of the 4th grade students accurately measure, name, and draw angles in a 2D figure, which was actually primarily triangles, and identifying those as well. So the bottom purple objectives were for day 1. I had an entry skill from 2nd grade of just being able to say, hey, that's an angle in a square or whatever shape. Then from there, they're identifying actually all 4 angles. I put acute and obtuse until I really started planning this out and realizing I needed to do all 4, including straight and right angles, perpendicular lines we also discussed. And then leading into that final major skill of identifying those angles in 2-dimensional shapes, primarily focusing on triangles. So the description of my activity, so I'm going to go over this. I'll go through when I go through my website, but as an overview, so the first day or night, which was Monday night, they learned about perpendicular lines and how that creates a 90-degree angle, and then how you would compare an acute angle as less than 90 degrees, obtuse as more than 90 degrees, and then a straight angle at 180. So they were given a website that they could practice identifying angles on, and then they had a worksheet that they had to complete and submit to me online. When they got to class the next day, Tuesday, students also had watched a video about using a protractor, so I gave them protractors for the first time, and I gave them time to just kind of play with them and start to learn how to maneuver them, and then how to start to measure angles, and how to mostly measure and create a 90-degree angle, and then comparing other angles from there. That night, they learned how to draw angles, and I gave them kind of this art project as an assessment where they had to create all 4 angles and label them, and they had a rubric that they could follow that I'd be using for grading those. In class today, which is what I did my observation, they got protractors and then had to draw angles and identify them on paper in pencil, and they were actually really cute, and I forgot to take pictures, but some of the kids were kind of boring about their homework and just kind of drew the 10 different angles and didn't really make a picture or anything like that, which I had encouraged them to do. But in class, their pictures were a lot more fun. They were drawing other shapes and animals and cute stuff like that. Tonight, they are identifying and drawing 2-dimensional shapes, including triangles, so watching videos about how the angles make different kinds of triangles. And then they, very similar to last night's assessment, they're doing the art project of drawing the two-dimensional shapes, including those triangles. They also are going, so that's the homework, and then their assessment is on a website called 10 Marks, which we use quite frequently, and I assign one of those, and whatever score they get, I'm counting as an assessment grade. It's all the skill is the based on the standard, the sets of questions, so it fits perfect. And then in class, I'm actually introducing this angle ruler that I have, and I feel like it's kind of cheating. You do have to know how to measure on the ruler and look up the degrees, but I thought that'd be another fun way for them to make angles, drawing triangles and other two-dimensional shapes. And I feel like I only have 15 minutes, so I better start talking faster. So my website I made on Weebly, and maybe I won't really talk much. You guys can come go to this website and look at it all you want. You'll figure it out. Here's my homepage. Totally random statement, but here you can see that I have home day at the top. For some reason, it showed up as 3 lines over here, and you had to choose from it. It's so weird that it only looks this way at my house. So I gave them directions overall about how all the nightly homework is going to use. This was our vocabulary that I taught them Monday, that I told them to continue practicing. Our goals and standards. So if I forget to mention it later, adding standards was something that one of my evaluators encouraged me to do, and then my citations for my videos. So day 1 directions, I underlined the tasks and then additional notes followed. I felt like day 1 was kind of the busiest day. I had the most videos and the most things to do, but they're a little faster. So this video talks about the different kinds of angles, and I said, you know, like, look at this picture, like, how many angles do you see? Learning about right angles. They had the watch the video, so this protractor, I don't know, I called it that, but this is the video I made, and I filmed it from my Active Inspire program that I use for my Promethean board, and which was cool, and I showed them how I would be using the protractor in class to create angles, so that when I started doing it in class, I didn't have to really explain what I was doing. This website here was just a link that they could go to where they were assessed on their angles, and it would say, you know, bong if it's wrong, yay if it's right, and we did a round in class, and everyone was fine with that. This was their assessment, so students needed to write down their answers to these and send them to me. So this Microsoft 365 ended up not working. We had this program, and I mean, everyone, I guess we don't have it, but we have accounts for all the kids, and they were not able to log in at home. So that's something that's going to have to be addressed kind of at the school level. But most parents were easily able to send me answers through their email and then Class Dojo. So the only problem with that is, you know, the kids couldn't do it on their own. They did need adult help. At the same time, I was like, hey, but then it's keeping the parents accountable and seeing what their kids are doing. So that ended up being not the worst. It worked out without problems. It says tomorrow what we'll be doing in class, which we did. And after Monday night, most of the kids had done their homework. I did have an issue with this one video. It was accidentally set to private, which no one had caught. So I was able to kind of fix that somewhat quickly, but I played it again the next day for those who weren't able to see it. But beside that, like, all the kids seemed engaged by it. And day 2, so this is what they did last night. So drawing angles with the protractor. So watching this so you know what to do when you get to class tomorrow. They all picked it up rather quickly. This is the rubric that I gave them and the explanations for what I wanted to do. Before they went home that night, I did show them this website. Like every day, I've been going over like what they were going to do that night, and they, I explained the rubric to them and all the steps. This is just happened to be a website I used to create these angles that they could use as a model. There were some errors, so today we talked about like what errors did I make and how would you correct it or what can make it better and how would you use the rubric to grade it. So most of them gave me a 9 out of 12 actually, so or 8 or 9 out of 12. Then last day, this is what they're doing tonight, watching this video about triangles. A similar rubric, they have to add triangles to their image now. Again, I made my example, not the best. So their big final assessment is this 10 marks. So I'll flip to that. So I think some of them have already done it. So let's see. So they're up, I guess, just 7. All right. They'll probably maybe do it after dinner. So right now they're at 64%, but some of them had gotten a hold of this a few weeks ago because they can take some of these on their own sometimes. So like Amaya got 19%, but that was a couple days ago. So she needs to retake that. Solani probably won't retake hers because she already had scored well. Gideon just took this, so he got a 67%. So I like this program. I can go in and see what questions they got wrong. So, you know, it will let me see what I need to reteach in the future. So that is it. Tomorrow they're going to be drawing those images like they're doing on the computers to submit to me, this art project. So they have like their computer drawn version and then their hand draw version. So I just quickly wanted to also show like, I'm trying to make sure I'm covering everything. Oh no, I only have like 2 minutes. So implementation in the future. So I'm doing it now. So I'll show you that. Oh, my evaluation real quick. Shoot, I'm going to have to attach this because, or add it to this. I'll add it to this PowerPoint before I submit it. I had a fellow teacher, the 3rd grade teacher, and 2 students evaluate it. And the problem with having people who like you do your evaluations is they all told me everything was great and wonderful. Like I said, I added my like standards, I think, was really it. Kids thought it was great, so I was like, all right, well, I guess it's gonna go well. So I will try to take pictures of those and upload them. But last but not least, okay, so this was the introduction of my lesson today. So my objective, and here are examples from students day 2 at home. So this, she said that she had created some of the angles printed out and then wrote on them, and then this girl did hers on paint. So hers, the girl in the back, Eris, hers was done, but not very creatively, I felt, whereas the girl on top decided to make more of a picture out of it. I said they were both fine. I mean, they showed what they needed to. So we talked about how to draw an angle, and I drew this step by step, and then they did the same mimicking with their paper. I showed them the rubric and sent them on their way, and they drew me pictures. Again, we looked at this, and I said, where are my mistakes? And this is when they gave me an 8 or a 9 out of 12. And then I said that they could start measuring the actual angles, which was not part of my objective, but it does not hurt to get started on that. And actually, most of them did that well. They were able to say what their angle was when they drew it, and then also what a partner's angle was when they measured each other. So I think I've covered everything, and I will definitely try to upload that evaluation. I hope you guys enjoyed the site, and have a good night.